Welcome in, all you ghouls and goblins, to Monster School. I am Morgticia, and today, Monster and Mama will be discussing all things Universal Monsters. So don't get too scared. Today, trick or treat yourself to something.
Three, two, one. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second to last episode of Monster School. My name is Monster, and I am here with.
Mama Ducks.
And today we are talking about all things Universal Monsters. So, Universal Monsters, pretty much, they're responsible for the horror. Oh, no, fuck. Oh,
What have you done?
I almost screwed
What
up
has
the whole
happened?
thing. Nothing. They're pretty much responsible, I think, for horror in general. Without them, there wouldn't be a horror genre. It would be some
I
weird
can agree with that.
French shit.
We would eventually get there, but it would have taken a lot longer.
A lot longer. And it'd be completely different from what we know today. Because, I mean, like, conceptually, the stories are done and retold. So, especially Frankenstein, where it's like it's retold in so many different ways that aren't
All
even
of them.
related to Frankenstein. It's just relevance.
Yes.
But the first question I'm going to ask is, if you were Dr. Frankenstein, what monster would you create?
Like,
Your own, like, monster. Like, you're Dr. Frankenstein.
so it doesn't have to just be a resurrected human.
No, you don't have to use corpses. You can make, like, a mech machine. It's your Frankenstein.
I would make a dragon.
Nice.
I'm like, get the right lizards, get the right snakes. You know, it could be done.
Yeah,
Maybe
I've
a
always...
fucking crocodile.
Dude, we are too much alike. Do you know what I was going to say? I was going to say crocodile.
No way!
Yeah,
Oh
I was
my
going to say
God.
they should make a crocodile that's like a mutated and it's actually in the sewers almost. And it's like...
We
it
could, like,
starts
work
in London.
together and find a mansion and make this shit happen.
We could totally do this. So many crocodiles are going to get fucked up before we come to the... Like,
You know what?
we have no idea what
I
we're
doubt
doing.
that many people would be that upset about it.
True.
Crocodiles are scary, man.
Crocodiles are pretty much the dollar store version of the alligator, where it's like you don't really care for crocodile. Alligators are like the classic like small snouts, but crocodiles, the long things, it's like
Those are more scary to me. Crocodiles are
yeah,
more
because it's
scary.
elongated.
More,
it has this like
no, they're more
snap to it.
violent. They have more tricks up their sleeves. Like they
Magicians.
the way they can launch out of the water.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's kind of scary.
their tail is so powerful. They can just like they're at the bottom. Here's the water.
Yeah.
Just and get at you like yeah. It's
I don't like that.
They are predators, dude. They are not to be fucked with. So if we fuck with them, we're losing phalanges. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah. Nah. Never mind. But no, that would be cool. I've always like I know we're not doing urban myths right now, but it's like I always wanted that to be
I
true.
want to do that still.
Yeah, the gators and we'll do that next week combined with all our merchandise. We can talk about whatever we want that episode. That's a cool thing. But I always wanted there to be alligators and crocodiles in the sewer. I thought that was a cool little I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, the first movie we're going to talk about is my personal favorite of all time, which is Dracula. Specifically Bela Lugosi, because he's my favorite and he makes me smile, and the way he talks, it's very debonair in the style of like, oh, these creatures of the night, what the music they make, and you're just like drawn in by his voice. I like his story so much because it's been retold so many ways, and it's retold the exact same way, but it stays interesting, even with remakes or like weird, like what was the movie like? Was it Van Helsing or I don't know.
That was Universal. Van Helsing was Universal.
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it? It's weird they didn't just. It would have been so much better if they kept the classical look to all their like the classic monsters. But no, I love Dracula. Dracula's always been my favorite. What about you? What do you think of Dracula?
What one's my favorite, or what do I think about Dracula?
In terms of Dracula.
Dracula was like everything. right? Like whenever you
Right.
think classic horror, immediately Dracula pops into your mind. Like you cannot avoid, but it's legendary.
Right.
It's not my favorite, um, but it is solid. Obviously, I like me some vampires. You know,
Right.
especially Bela Lugosi. He does a fantastic
And
job.
this, I think I've already showed it, but this stays right next to my bed before I go to sleep. It's my little Bela Lugosi.
Oh, someone has some wishful
It's
thinking.
a
That's
350.
cute.
Yeah, is he so cute?
Some kids wish upon a star.
Yeah, I'm next to him. I'm like, night.
Monster wishes upon a bite.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Next, hit miss for me, but obviously a hit. Frankenstein with
Yes.
Boris Karloff.
Yes.
Yes, just as good in my opinion. It's at this point for me at least it becomes preference of the monster because the storyline is like it transcends where it's like not accepted, not knowing who you are. It's kind of like the original Tim Burton-esque feel where it's like everybody knows how to be an outsider, but he truly is because he's like he doesn't know who he is because he was just created.
Yeah.
So much so that like one of the most poignant scenes I feel in all of horror history, and it still sticks to me because when I saw it, I was like, it's so simple and so beautiful. It's when the girl is plucking the flower
Flowers.
petals, and she's throwing them in the lake, and he's watching her, and he's docile at that point. He's like completely calmed down. He's not a monster of any sorts. He's just watching
He's
her
just
do this.
very young. Like even though it's a large man mentally, it's a preteen.
Right.
Like
right.
So yeah.
But the part that kicks in is she has like 2 flower petals left. And she's a very kind girl. She looks at him and she's like, "Here." So she throws in a petal and he's like clapping. He's like, "This is kind of fun. I love this."
Yeah,
he throws
look
the last
at that,
petal
it
and then exactly. And then he looks down. He doesn't have any petals left. He doesn't understand the petals left. That he's like, "Wait, what do I do now?" Because his mind's like back to reality. So he looks at her and he's like, "Flower petal." Yeah, exactly. I need to throw something. So he throws her. She drowns, and it kind of the riot happens
and the dad like immediately somehow knows that she was murdered.
Right.
Even though
he comes
wasn't
stumbling out like
even around. Like, where the fuck were you, Death?
Yeah.
So that was weird, but okay.
It's up there. I mean, it's almost, in my opinion, even it's weird to say because obviously Dracula's my favorite. I think it's equal to because both messages.
Yeah, well, and the acting. Okay, so like he doesn't speak really.
Right.
Right. He's just mostly grunting and shit. And he's caked under like 40 pounds of makeup. And you can still, his acting just fucking kills it. You get so much emotion out of his character. And it's like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, so he's a legend for that role alone. Like, to be able to take pretty much an inanimate object and give it so much life is cool.
Yeah.
Because there's...
Did
you know, like, there was a lot of struggles on set because he was so scary. Like, the other actors and actresses were kind of like, I don't know about this.
Really?
Like, yeah, he was so convincing, it really fucked with them.
That's cool. I like that. That's cool. That's like original method acting there.
Well, that's him. Original method acting.
Yeah.
You know, like, OG. Like, even, like, off of set, if he had a role, he was that character.
Well, it's funny because Jack Nicholson in The Shining, if you watch behind the scenes, he's
tortured himself to get that mentality.
Yeah. He's checking off lines like this. So you see words on a page, and then say there's a word that says, I don't know, certificate. He'd wrap it around and loop it out at an angle, and he's doing that for all these words that are standing out to him. And they're like, "Where'd you learn that?" He's like, "I got that from Boris Karloff," because he used to sign his like. So it's like this little connection where he's like, It's like I don't know. It's cool how they connected the horror, but he learned that from him too, where it's like he kind of transcended it. But yeah, that whole movie it works because the thing why it could have struggled. There's really only 2 main characters in it. It's Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster. Those are your leads. Dracula has he has Reinfeld, he has the 3 brides, he has Van Helsing. There's a lot more to play off of. In this, it's like the side characters are very side characters where it's like girl number 1 that's unnamed or the dad of girl number 1. It's like there's no support in terms of character development. It's like he has to go through it almost like 127 hours with James Franco where it's like it's progression, but you got to do it by yourself. Next is one I was extremely iffy on and extremely disappointed in, which is, you're gonna get beat up for it, but Bride of Frankenstein.
What? You've lost your mind, sir.
Okay, thank you for being polite, first of all. Second of all, this movie, why I'm disappointed is, I thought the bride was going to be a main character throughout. And she's only in it for 30 seconds. And then there's that cool line where it's like, we belong dead. And it's the realization.
That is the biggest disappointment with that movie for me. That is the only thing that pisses me off about that movie, is that I thought she was going to be a main character. Like, the bride of Frankenstein. Give me that bitch's story, because she comes in hot.
I saw it for the first time 3 years ago. I was late to the game because I have these list of movies, like I think I told you, where it's like I'm holding off because I'm like, I know these are going to be amazing, and I'm going to wait till I'm in a really good mood, put one in, and just be on cloud nine. Bride of Frankenstein was one. I put it in, and I'm waiting. And at the end, because I remember when I grew up with horror, I remember that static shock of her, like turning her head like that, and the hair,
all about the lighting, and the
and I was like, she's
gonna
be amazing. And I watch it, and she wakes up, she does the thing, and then that's it. I was like, what? I was like, it's the bride, but like you said, it was the Bride of Frankenstein. I wanted her to be the main character.
I wanted her story. I wanted her character. But I will say, because this is when, Audible came, with, Strong.
Yeah.
The acting was a little bit more tricky, because they went from mostly, motion instead of the, script.
Yeah.
So the actors are a little when it comes to getting that part down. But I feel like the story was better with Frankenstein's Bride over Frankenstein. I prefer Frankenstein's Bride over Frankenstein. It's one of the better ones, in my opinion.
I didn't hate it because I get what they're doing as a mechanism. It's you seeing the progression of her, as a human, deceased, the rebuilding, and then the payoff is you get to see the Bride of Frankenstein. But it's in no way, shape, or form did I think that would be the case. So I didn't know it was going to follow those beats, because I thought it was going to be very almost like not action oriented, just more like the Bride of Frankenstein, 2 against the world type feel, very much against the common sense.
Yeah.
But what's cool about that movie is, I don't know if you've seen it, but have you seen Bride of Chucky yet?
Oof. I did, but I don't really remember a lot of it.
So there's this cool metaphor in it that a lot of people glance over. Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly's character, when she's in human form, she's taking a bath and she's watching Bride of Frankenstein. And right when the line hits, we belong dead, and he pulls a switch on the TV screen or whatever, Frankenstein, Chucky pushes the TV into the water, she gets electrocuted, and then her body then transfers into Tiffany doll. And it's cool because if you think about it, it's the opposite.
Goes out like Frankenstein.
Right, it goes out like Frankenstein. So I thought that was a cool little nod that the director did.
That's cool. I do like that.
I really love that. That's the movie I told you about where it's it's very much comedic horror, but you should watch it with the just the self horror, nostalgia bits that they put in there, the self-referencing, where it's it's so good, where you're just smiling, you're it's just
little Easter eggs for the OGs.
The next one, I know it's my dad's favorite, the Wolfman with Lon Chaney. It's
not my favorite.
It's not my favorite either, because it's very apparent towards the end, at least my opinion, where it's when you grew up with Wizard of Oz, right? And you watch it as a child, you kind of see this cinematic adventure. But when you watch it as an adult, you can clearly tell this was shot on a stage. Yeah, it was shot on a stage. You can see the backdrops. You can see the corners of the room that they were shooting. The illusion's kind of gone.
Yes.
Same with Godzilla in the size comparison when you realize it's a guy in a suit.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with the ending scene. I love the aesthetics of practicality as much as the next guy. But for some reason, I can see they're on a stage when they're running through those woods where I'm I'm pretty sure each of those trees are made out of, cardboard. It's cool because you get a cameo from Bela Lugosi as, the gypsy guy or whatever, and you're it's kind of cool they're connecting that way. the
But
whole.
that's also like another part of the appreciation for classic horror now, where like people who still prefer theater, right? They like going to the Phantom of the Opera, Universal.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I got you. He's not down here. I'll put that
if
on here.
you have the appreciation for the art in itself and the creating of the illusion to give off that feel, because like this, we're talking like the 30s. They did not have shit compared to what we have now. We boomed in the last like 20 years, 25 years with the growth in technology and what we can do. Before that, it was a very slow growth. It was a boom.
They had to work with what they had.
So like, even though a lot of it comes off, it's harder to get immersed because you're not looking for this, because usually in movies they're flawless and you're like, I saw that Wendy's cup.
Right.
They're gonna edit that, you know?
Exactly that, yeah.
But like, it's cool to see how clever they got to be able to pull this shit off in the budget that they had, because back then, especially horror,
not so
you only
much.
have so much to work with.
It's cool. No, I agree with you, and I disagree with you. Because at the end of the day, it's not Evil Dead with Sam Raimi directing it with a short budget. It's Universal Pictures putting out a film. And if you're following that up with Dracula,
like he had massive, like a long background. Like the way Universal even became a thing, it was a struggle to be born. So he didn't have like
But I thought Frankenstein was first, then Dracula, and I thought that at that point they would have known, where it's like we could up the budget.
You would think more people would be more comfortable with spending once they see two solid ass products, but a lot of them would still hesitate because they're like, that's gonna flop. Yeah. There's no way it can keep going.
The Wolfman's, it's a solid film. I'm just not like head over heels about it. It's just, I like the idea of like, I think it's the only Wolfman movie where they do, I think it's like a gypsy curse on the hand or something, like a symbol. Do you remember that? It's like a circle.
This movie released the day either of or after Pearl Harbor happened.
Yeah, that's gonna
so there's a lot of theory behind that film on there being a little bit of hints to shit. The star
I don't believe
was kind of one of those things. So like it's a little rough. It like there's mixed signals as to like, but here's the thing, right? With art, sometimes you have to push limits to get a proper reaction of movement toward a certain direction, and sometimes that requires pissing off a lot of people before they're like, oof. So now that I see it, maybe this isn't like cool.
Was it a straight up pentagram that was on their hands?
Yes, it was.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was a strange addition. I don't know if it was.
It is a weird addition. It really doesn't belong.
Well, and that's it. Like, I feel like,
because I don't think gypsies have anything to do with pentagrams. Now that I think about it, they don't.
Well, if a gypsy is of pagan or Wiccan or
I know, but at that day and time, I don't think they were focusing on that. I think they were just like, let's make this man, you know. Okay, moving on. No, Wolfman's great. Go see it. I didn't understand the. I kind of like the whole pentagram thing. Kind of didn't, because I like symbolism in terms of like why something's happening to someone, as opposed to just saying like, oh, there's this thing out there that changes in the night. Like I like a little bit of context. I don't know if I necessarily would have done it.
Oh, I thought the symbols appeared on the people that were gonna die.
You're right. I just would have chosen a different symbol.
They were trying to make the pentagram out to be a
thing of evil,
sacrificial symbol, which is of course going to rub me right the fuck the wrong way because it is a symbol of protection.
Right.
Okay.
I have no idea.
A mean
I always
symbol.
It's a good one. I
know.
Or something.
A lot. No. Well, yeah, protection. Like for good protection. Similar to how some use the crucifix.
I use the Trojan symbol for protection.
But that was a torture device turned into a holy symbol, so that's interesting to me. But
glanced over my joke.
I'm sorry. I was in processing.
I said I'll use the Trojan symbol for protection. Thank you.
Okay, there it is.
Would have been stronger if you heard it the first time, but okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The next one, I legit saw maybe 6 years ago. I thought I was gonna hate this movie.
I think I know what it is.
I don't think you do. What do you think it is?
The Invisible Man.
It's The Invisible Man. Yeah, it's The Invisible Man. I love this movie. So many different reasons. I love the effect because the effect holds up as like you know what they're doing in terms of like there's a guy here, like there's nothing, like it's all practical and it's ingenious the way he goes invisible. But the cool thing about this movie is I forget the actor's name and I should be ashamed of myself for it. But the way he Do you got
I don't remember his name either. It wasn't okay. Okay, so did Karloff apply for this position but was denied?
I think so. Yeah, and
this other guy ended up with the gig, and he wasn't really known. He was a new actor, so like I don't know his name. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was gonna jump into this camera and be like,
yeah.
But no, the reason I love this character so much and this actor, for some reason, when he acts and he delivers his lines, if you were to turn this into color, repurpose it in 4K, you would have felt this came out like
anytime
year.
Yesterday.
Right. Like I love his energy. It's almost like Joker energy. Because you know the more he's invisible, the more he's going insane. And
if I remember correctly, the Joker was for the cartoon was inspired by him. Yeah, like
Batsy boy. Yeah.
Yes, like he was inspired by this character to be his character.
Yeah, but no, he's up there with I think it's Frankenstein. I love you. No, he's after Frankenstein. Dracula, Frankenstein, Invisible Man. This character, I love the idea. Like I've never seen this before ever in any film from that period of time, from the 30s to the 50s. The descension of Dante's Inferno into insanity. Like the longer he stays invisible, the more insane he gets. Like, and he drops stuff that like wouldn't even be allowed today. Where he's like, I'm gonna rape. I'm gonna do that. Like he literally flat out says it.
He was a monster already before
they him insane.
Gave him invisibility. Like now now he's the ultimate villain because he's like, and that was his monster, which I got like. The Invisible Man doesn't get enough respect. Like he's terrifying.
Insane. That's why I thought it was gonna stink.
In my opinion, the scariest of all the Universal monsters.
He flat out says at the end, "I am God." Like, and theoretically, he is. He's like, I'm gonna do whatever I want to whoever I want. I'm gonna destroy, steal, do every sin imaginable, and I'm gonna get away with it because I am the Invisible Man. And I'm just like,
yep.
Wow. Like you're kind of
like he's like, stop me, bitch.
Right. And the fact that they allowed that to come out back in what was it, like the 40s? I think.
Yes, I think it was like 44.
Yeah, insanity. Because it's like this is when the Brady Bunch and like
was
not the Brady Bunch. Like it's when Lucy and Red Skeleton, Lou Costello and Abbott are coming, and it's like this guy flat out says like I'm gonna do things to people.
I am everybody's worst nightmare. Let's go.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. There was only one part.
And to be able to pull that off though, like
he did too.
It's so good.
I like where he's like the guards are chasing him. I believe it's like they chase him outside the tavern into the main like foreyard or something. He strips off all his clothes and he just takes off, and all you hear is him. It gets me every time. He like giggles in a way where he's like, like he's
what is he saying?
I don't
sings
know.
something while he's running. What the fuck is it?
Yes, he's like skipping to it where he's like, I am a third. Like he just gets so happy because he's like, I literally best everybody.
Oh my god, I wish I could remember what he's saying. It's so fucking funny. And that's the part that he was inspired for Joker. That right there was like how he like fed his character.
Right, because that's the part again. Like I hate referencing this. I want you to watch Leslie Vernon so I can reference that instead of Devil's Rejects. But it's that moment of like completion, where it's like that's the pinnacle. You know what I'm saying? Like every killer tries to get to that pinnacle, and he's there. He's like, I'm God, and I'm just gonna skip and sing a song right now because he's just happy about doing what he does.
I'm loving this shit.
But no, I was blown away by it because I literally didn't even want to watch it because, like you said, like it doesn't get enough support. So I thought it was gonna suck. I put it in. I watched it like twice.
The new one, I didn't even bother watching.
Oh my gosh!
One. I did not bother watching.
Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon.
In it.
It does what the Invisible Man does, but it shows what like he flat out like sexually like molests.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's just
a
like,
large
and
reason
you
why
have
I
to
didn't
sit
bother.
through it, and he doesn't just do it once. Like
Of course not.
it's
That's
so
not his character.
it's
His character
unnerving, and
is
then
he is self-indulgence.
right.
There's
For some
no
reason, it's more
stopping
badass to say you are going to do it than to show that you're doing it. It's like
Well, yeah.
I don't know what they were gonna do with his
There's
character.
still room to like not completely loathe the character if you don't actually visually see the actions.
Yeah.
Like
And
where
it's
you're
weird
just like,
too
this
because
is
he's
why I'm watching
invisible
this.
when he's doing it,
Ugh.
and some of it's practical, I believe. So it's just unnerving because usually when you see a scene like that, it's unnerving as hell. But when it's like invisible, it's like you know the zipper's coming down, but they're setting it up so her shirt, like they're using practical effects and all these mechanisms for her to be molested. It's just weird.
Well, and the ingenious of the original, like they didn't have green screen back then. So what they did was they hung like a heavy black velvet, and he wore a heavy black velvet, and they would shoot the scene with him like unwrapping.
It's so
and
Cesar
shit,
Romero too
and
when he does
then
remember. He's like, and
do
this
the
one's for
scene
you. This is for
again
you.
with him without him in it, you know, so they could like split them and overlap them to create the effect of him unraveling.
Right.
Like it's so good the amount of work they had to do to get this flawless execution.
It's strong.
I don't
pretty
want to
flawless.
watch the new one because the first
Don't.
one you just
It's
can't.
it's not a fun movie. It's gonna give you that same feeling of like Last House on the Left because it's like it's just uncomfortable because like you know like there's literally the practical effects people on that set are rigging a girl's shirt or rigging like it's so weird.
Well, like
it's
you know,
why?
I don't mind a little bit.
I want to look up
You
that
know,
nursery
of
he does.
like okay, that's where that's going, but I just don't see why we got to do like 10-minute scenes of different angles. You know, like it's not me, man. That ain't my cup of tea.
I agree.
It brings the vibe too low during a cinematic experience.
But yeah, it's completely underrated. Sorry, I want to find that song he sings when he's skipping away. The Invisible
I'll find
Man.
it.
Yeah, you're much better at this than I.
I know.
Invisible Man. 1933. Song he sings when he skips. Oh, I don't want to play the audio.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm like, shit.
All right, let's see. Here we go, gathering. There we go.
Why is this in like another language?
Screw it. Whatever. I'm gonna click it.
Oh.
All right, let me listen.
Here we go gathering nuts in May, nuts in May, nuts in May. Here we go gathering nuts in May on a cold and frosty
Yikes.
morning.
I got it. He says,
Yeah, I don't.
here we go gathering nuts in May, nuts in May, nuts in May.
Yes,
Here we go
there
gathering
it
nuts
is.
in May in the frosty morning. And the funny part is about this clip I just saw, he's not completely invisible. It's just these set of pants. He left
Yes,
his pants
that's
on
right.
purpose.
Yes.
But no, that movie's close to flawless. The only thing that annoys me like crazy is, and I remember telling my friend right after, whoever plays the innkeeper that's like female and she's like a servant to like the guy that owns it, she is so annoying. Like I hated her. She couldn't act. But that was me being super picky. But everything else is spotless.
Well,
Like,
and that's it. When you've got a really solid film and then you've got that one weak character, it's like, fuck.
Right.
Almost perfection.
Well, okay, well, say this. This is the equivalent to what she was because I just remembered it. So, in Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, do you remember the assistant officer with the glasses that starts like dancing with the chick that's cheating on him and all that?
Mm-hmm.
I did equivalent where you're just like,
Mhm.
go away. There's no reason for you. I get you're the comedic relief,
why are
but
you
you're
here?
not funny. Yeah,
Right.
I'm sure if he's alive, I'm sorry. If he's dead,
Sorry.
whatever. The next one is Creature from the Black Lagoon.
We love
Yeah. This one, you start this one off. You start this one off because I've been starting a lot of them.
Oh my gosh. Well, if you haven't watched Creature from the Black Lagoon, what are you doing?
Nice.
But sorry, it's a classic. You gotta watch it. I can't really tell you verbatim exactly like the whole scenario, but if I remember correctly, there's like a study team.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A lot like Anaconda with Jennifer Lopez.
Yes.
I think about it. Yeah.
And they show up and they're testing for something, and I don't know if it's kind of like, I feel like it was a kind of like Yeti situation where he was always around. They just,
I don't think they necessarily knew. No, you're right. I think they knew about him, but it was like one of those things where it was like, is he?
like, they
Isn't
kind of
he?
had
Let's just go
evidence
anyways.
of something, but
right.
they didn't really know.
Did
But he was like
him?
just as curious of him, of them as they are of him. They found like, I feel like it was like a hand or something, like a fin thingy.
Disturbing his swamp.
Yes.
And he doesn't like that.
But
it's very like I'm not
didn't he have like the hats for the chick? There was like a chick that he was like, ooh, you know, like I'll kill all them, but ooh, because I don't feel like he was a malicious monster. Like I don't think, if I remember correctly, he didn't really go out of his way to start shit. They kind of like retaliated ridiculously.
I thought he was a lot like, and I bet it's based off him, Swamp Thing from the DC universe, where he's like, this is my swamp, just leave the swamps alone. These are my swamps. I don't want, I don't
kind of like,
this, just leave me alone, leave this alone. They come in, they start doing experiments. He doesn't really like it, so he starts, that's the shots where he's swimming underneath, right, trying to cut the engine, do this, right, he's just like spying on him, but they just don't let up. So he takes the girl to his cave. Let's just go with that.
His little nook.
His little abode. And there's that cool shot of him like carrying her in his arms. And I always love that shot. Like even with Dracula when he's carrying Lucy, like that, that's like the ultimate symbol of horror. Whenever you see that, like the angelic woman in the hands of a beast. Like even if it's Frankenstein with the little girl.
Well, yeah, in their most like fragile looking state, like
right. Because like I've said before, horror for me, the thing that works for it is the pair. Even with music, it's the pairing of something angelic with something almost demonic in a way, where it's like not right. That's why a lot of horror trailers you don't hear like heavy music like it's like Jason X or Freddy vs. Jason.
A really good balance of delicate and like dark, like
right.
That's what most horror, in my opinion, these days lacks. There's no elegance anymore. Like
I'd agree, except
too modern in that sense. Like I would love a really good, like old-fashioned style.
I've always wanted to do that. My dream is to be a director, and I've always said like, I'm writing a script right. Should I say it?
I think that plays a large role on why I really enjoyed that one movie. Why can't I remember the name? The witches that I liked a lot.
Not Eastwick, right?
No,
Suspiria.
No. Suspiria. Very elegant. The characters are very elegant, and I loved it. Like they don't do that enough anymore. It's not encouraged to be like classy.
I've always, because I'm writing a script right now that I'll say it's called The Servant. I've been writing it for about 2 years. I want it to be almost a slasher. It's a mixture of, say this, Taxi Driver meets a Christian Bale from American Psycho. But I don't want to give away too much, but it's called The Servant, right? And I want it to be paired with universe. I want it to be almost black and I want it to have the same feel, but it's difficult because people really aren't interested in that.
Are you sure? I feel like you're not interested in black and white while everyone else is.
What are you talking about? I just said I would do it in black and white, but I feel other people wouldn't be. Okay, you know what?
Look into it. Seriously, there are a lot of people who, for whatever reason, because I'm one of them,
that's true.
In
Nostalgic
the brain,
horror is
black
making a
and white is just more pleasant for some reason. There's just something about it that you're like, that's so cool. Like, I love it. Feels good.
Okay, want me to tell you the story? Because
I don't know. Do you want to divulge that on the internet? Because do you have anything?
I do. Because if they do it, this will always be there. Like I always have this on my computer where I'm like, look at this. So every character it's pure callbacks to horror. Like every character is named after like the main character is called Nancy after Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. There's like
Okay.
a baby named Jay. Like it's all callbacks. But the main conception of the story is there is this individual who is going around as an Uber driver. And why I thought this was interesting is because I've never seen a movie, because it needs to be different. A lot like Blair Witch, like it needs to be different to pick up. That was my idea. What if we shot the entire movie through the dashboard cam that they use for like Uber driving? So we see this guy picking people up and we go about his routine. So he starts picking people up and you realize he's getting kind of aggravated with certain people that are coming into his car. Slowly but surely, you learn that he's trying to pick up virgins, which is very difficult because you can't really flat out ask somebody, like, are you a virgin? But the way he's picking people up is it'll say, need a pickup, female, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's trying to figure it out, right? And the whole reason, I'm butchering this job. I'm not good picturing it, but if you were to read it, you'd be like, hey, I like this. The whole reason he's trying to pick up virgins is he wants to drive to his, home village, in the mountains to sacrifice her to the Chernobog. Do you remember who Chernobog is? Have you seen Fantasia? Nyan Ball Mountain? Big dude, horns?
Yeah.
That guy. Okay, so I'll do that. Yeah, I should.
I'm trying to picture it. Give me a moment.
So,
I'm a visual thinker.
So this, because there's so many more details. So what he does is the movie starts in a garage, right? The garage door pans up, and you see a shot of the woman dead on the ground, with blood coming out, and you see him drive out.
So what is the like? You're gonna have to remind me.
If they don't sacrifice a virgin to the Chernobog every 10 years, he will destroy the world. A lot like Cabin in the Woods. Think that. And he doesn't want to do it. That's the cool part about it. When he finally finds her,
he doesn't want to be. Oh my god, this. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Like, because I'm thinking, like, in order to guarantee yourself a virgin, right? You're probably picking up very young girls, and then.
I'm gonna make her of age. I'm not gonna be a creep about it. But I'm just saying, like, it's gonna be a lot like Tarantino with the placement cards, where it'll say like, what is it? What's the word when somebody's in your car? There, the
passenger.
Passenger 1, the harlot, or something. It's like it's like a prostitute, whatever, but she's not the one. Passenger 2, and it's a lot like Paranormal Activity, where as things are progressing, I do more and more things throughout the script to make you feel uneasy. Where like once you're at number 7, you don't want to see number 8 because you're terrified enough, but you have to make it to number 10. And what's cool is I wanted the third girl to be the virgin girl, right? But she ends up getting away or like getting out of the car way too fast, and he gets infuriated. But then she comes back to him as passenger 8, and it's like it's just like I don't know. It's still in the works, obviously, and I'm not doing any justice. But I like the idea that eventually he goes back to this village where it's like it's basically just pure chaos, and the Chernobog's waking up, and she needs to be sacrificed in order to save the Earth, but he doesn't want to.
Interesting.
Okay, jeez. Cut all that out. Make myself feel better. No, I'm just kidding. No, I gotta work on it. Again, like I'm the guy that procrastinates writing all the time, but I really feel strongly about this concept. I want it to feel old school though, which is tough because
I don't know how you're
they're using modern device. Yeah, so I don't know. It's still progress.
Yeah.
Next is The Phantom of the Opera. I'm not really a fan at all, like, of the original, or the remake's fine, but again, I guess it's a theater correlation. The whole idea of a chandelier dropping and a guy that's half scarred, I get it, but it's just not a storyline I'm really drawn to, because especially it's around theater where it's mostly singing, and the songs are great and all that, but it's like, I don't get the correlation because it just feels like Frankenstein to me. Or like it's a hybrid.
It is very similar to Frankenstein.
Right,
yes.
where it's like it's the
very
outcast.
Similar.
It reminded me of like Hunchback of Notre Dame, where it's like he's trying
exactly.
Right,
Which is like another one of theirs. their monsters, their classic signature is the outcast, the monster. You know, like
Right.
that was always that's like their signature. Is like it's
I agree. I mean, I saw it. I don't think I'll ever see it again. I just saw it to complete because I got the full from Best Buy. I got the full like 4K Blu-ray copy of all Universal monsters, and it was in there. And I was like, I've never seen that.
cool.
I've never seen the
Oh,
original. So I put it on, and I was like, I'm so
yeah.
happy I didn't watch this. Like, but I don't know. I never really considered it
It is
Universal
definitely
monster.
a flavor. You
Yeah.
know, like
You have to have a certain.
it is very hit or miss for me when it comes to theater.
Right.
Phantom of the Opera is a phenomenal experience if you do like theater.
Mhm.
Highly recommend it. Same goes with
Sing
Sleepy
my
Hollow.
angel.
Sleepy Hollow is another very good one
Mm-hmm.
to experience at the theater. But there's not a lot like that. I could like Sweeney Todd is a good one.
Sweeney Todd's
I
good.
watched that. That's a good one.
It just
And,
feels like Phantom of the Opera is the movie. The only people who are gonna watch this movie, who are people who are auditioning on Broadway to be in Phantom of the Opera, and as an assignment they have to watch Phantom of the Opera. It's like
Phantom of the Opera has an extremely huge fan following. Hello.
Really?
It's just not relevant to you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's
We
a good
out
point.
here, homie.
That's true. That's true.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Oh, speaking of Sleepy Hollow, so I was gonna say this for the last episode, which we'll probably bring up later, but my favorite killer of all time isn't Freddy Krueger. It's the Headless Horseman.
Yeah, no.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite story of all time. I want to go down. I believe it's in New Jersey, where Washington Irving like wrote the book and and all that. Want to go down there. I love that storyline so much because it works so perfectly. And the thing that I'm getting goosebumps. The thing that I love the most about it is the aura about the bridge. How it's a passage.
Well, yes. Are you gonna like hang out when you go?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over the bridge and wait till night and just like be like, he's coming. If he takes my head off, I'm fine with it. I don't care.
There's a reason why that legend is still so strong. Is even still today, people will tell you if you hang out long enough, you will hear the hooves, and it's like a residual sound that just happens. And
Dude,
so yeah, I recommend hanging out at night and just like being quiet and just chilling and listening and see if you can pick up on it.
This is like Dead by Daylight when Freddy shows up. I'm like, just kill me. Like,
oh my god, yeah.
Do
hey,
it.
Ghostface.
Yeah, yeah. You're like, stab me, please.
It's okay. You can carry me to the hook.
Yeah,
okay.
just hook me, baby. Oh, yeah, I love this. Great, thank you. But no, I love that whole. I usually stick to it around Halloween, so I forget a lot of the names and storylines and everything, because that's my Halloween treat to myself. I watch the original Disney one, which I feel is the best, because it's so, like, it's obviously Disney, so it's cartoony, but I like, there's a song in it that goes, that Thurl Ravencroft sang, who did the Grinch. It's like, bum bum bum, when the ghosts have a midnight jamboree, they break it off so fiendishly. Ghosts are bad, but the one that's worst is the Headless Horseman. He's the worst. He likes some little, he likes some big, some in the middle or a wig, black or white or even red. The Headless Horseman, he needs a head with a hip clip and a clippity clop. He's out looking for a head to chop. Don't try to figure it. So it goes into like this whole thing, but then it goes into like witches, and that, like, it kind of like explains everything about the entire lore in this one song. And a lot of people don't know this, but Bing Crosby does the voice of the villain. He does the voice of Ichabod. He like it's really
he's like everything. Impressive.
Yeah, but that one was strong for me. The one with Tim Burton, it was an interesting take having I liked Christopher Walken as the Headless Horseman. I liked Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane.
Yes.
Having Christopher Van whatever, the guy from Starship Troopers, play the villain, maybe. But I didn't like the whole witch angle. I don't know why. I just didn't feel it was like necessary. Like, I didn't get like the daughter going to see her mother having sex with the guy because it's part of a ritual. I'm like, it just took me out of the element. Because for me, it's like kind of like, I think you'll understand where it's like Sam with Halloween, where it's like it means like that's your little thing, you know what I'm saying? So like, The opening 10 minutes were amazing. I loved it because they kept the same shots from the original cartoon Disney one. But it's like, I just don't see the point of adding elements to something.
The point was the reason why the Headless Horseman was killing who he was killing was because the bad witch was controlling him with her shit. Like, that was like the whole point of why the villain was doing what he was doing.
But it's the same thing with like Insidious 2, where it's like, don't spell out what the mystery of Insidious 1 is. It's
I gotta say though, like,
I don't like the fact that somebody's directing the Headless Horseman. He's supposed to be like
the
this
witch
thing.
When they go to like her little shithole and she's like doing her shit.
That was scary.
And then she like jumps out. When that happened, I was like, oh shit, like, it got me. So I'm glad that they did that because that was a good spook. Like,
true,
it got me.
No, it unnerved me. It reminded me of when Tim Burton did the freaking. I really don't like the movie. People crap on me. The Pee Wee Herman, the truck driver lady, where she like did that. Yeah, see, there it is. You're like, oh, her. But no, Sleepy Hollow. I love it. I showed my little brother it, not the Tim Burton one, the Disney one. But something about the aura of that story, something about that bridge where it's like, don't cross over the bridge. Very much like Billy Goat's Gruff, where it's like, I think I'll cross over the bridge to get by the troll. Like, where it's like, I don't know. I love that whole feeling because it's like, if you want to
do a Headless Horseman painting now,
right? Like the silhouette, and he's the pumpkin, and the pumpkin's illuminating everything,
just, like, glowing. Yes.
Oh, that would be amazing. That'd be really amazing, actually. Jeez.
I know. I'm like, I think I need to replan tonight within like 2 hours. Get that sketched on a canvas.
Right? That'd be pretty dope. Wow, you just made me smile so fucking hard. I forgot everything. What the fuck? We're talking about Headless Horseman.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the pumpkin aspect where you don't necessarily knows why he does what he like. I love the whole mystery of it, the whole aura.
Yeah.
It's very
that helps exactly. It helps the horror, not even knowing why the fuck. Like.
Right. Why does he have a pumpkin for a head? And then I'm sure you've heard the Jack Skellington thing, right?
What do you mean?
That Jack Skellington's the Headless Horseman.
Oh.
Because I'll send you some stuff, but there's a shot where I believe it's Nightmare Before Christmas. He's laying, I believe, on the Headless Horseman's grave. And it's like, there's a whole thing about it. And people are like, they present, like he's laying like this, and they're like, he found a head.
Is it in the very beginning when they're singing him in?
And Zero's there? I'll send you it. I'll send you it. It's going to make you happy. Because when I saw this, I was like, it would make sense because I'm pretty sure
it's right when he's leaving.
It's right before you definitely see him lay on it, though. And you're like, I think that's his grave.
If it's his grave, no.
Hold on a second.
I feel like it's when they're singing him in. And he lands on the fountain thing, and it's the Headless Horseman. Or after he gets shot down and lands in the cemetery. And he's all fucked up for a moment. Because Zero is there. And that's when he sings the What Have I Done?
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Jack Skellington's head is in Beetlejuice.
What?
It's on his hat. Remember when he comes out, he's like, step right up, step right up. It's like right there.
Oh my god. I did not know. I have to rewatch it again. It's been a little while.
I'll find it after stream and send it to you. Hold on. Ichabod Crane, maybe? Maybe he's Ichabod Crane? Right here. Was Skeleton Crane? Oh my gosh, Rob, right.
That's so bright.
Movie list. Describes that. The ending of Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Horseman. Hold on a moment, sir. We know it's Tim Burton, Johnny Depp. Tim Burton directed it. And I'll do it after screen.
Okay.
Way too much. All right. Next, we have... What do we have? Another disappointment, but whatever. The Mummy.
No, I called it again.
This movie, again, it was one of those things where it's like you only see the mummy for like 2 minutes, and he's a dude after that because he like turns like what is it? Like he absorbs somebody's life or something, takes the bandages off. when I saw all the imagery and the thing that supports it, you think it's going to be this guy in bandages walking around like a zombie, and I was like digging that, and I was like, yeah, let's check it out. But no, it's just a movie where they just talk. Ironically, the one that I think kicks its ass is the one with Brendan Fraser, where I was like, fine, make it more action than horror. Like, I don't care, because the original...
I do like the Brendan Fraser one.
Right?
I do.
All of it's insane.
It was it's an adventure, and I like that.
The priestess is hot as hell. I don't know who, like, the priestess that loves the bald dude that's the mummy. You know what I'm talking about? Anaxim. Oh, wow, just the way you said that.
Yeah, she's that.
Yeah, no, she's
I bought
phenomenal.
a pair of those fucking what are they
the
called?
things she had when she fought her?
Yeah, I bought a pair of those after that movie. I was like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah.
And I had them forever, and I finally gave them to a homie who started collecting weapons, and I was like, oh, you know what? I got a pair for you.
I like the scene where I forget the guy's name, but it's like I don't know. He's like the helper that betrays Brendan Fraser. And he's like, guess who's on the wrong side of the river? Like that moment's dope. All right.
It was a fun movie.
And then final question. Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
So this film, OG. Like, this is the pinnacle. Like, people will disagree. They'll say some foreign film. Like, sure, like there's a couple foreign films out there that came before. But this, for American cinema at least, it inspired all of horror. This is the one that everything goes back to. And truth is, I think... I don't judge too hard on this film, because, like, when you start off at the beginning with Ryan Field in his village, they do this thing with I know you know, where they cake on makeup, so it gets picked up by the camera, and there is just so much makeup on these characters. It's hilarious to watch, and the fact that they can't do speaking audio, they have to do the place cards,
right,
is an extra endeavor you have to embear, right? A lot like Metropolis.
I mean, we're talking. It was the 20s, right? Like,
right,
wasn't it
it's
like
very old.
19 or
Early,
21 maybe,
because I think before this was Metropolis, where they did that robot effect, and like it was very well done, and that had place cards.
That was a great one.
But for Nosferatu, what's cool is the director does this thing. It picks up immediately when you get to the castle, as it always does. Like, you really don't care about the village stuff, but you kind of
right.
But when he gets in the wagon, the transportation wagon, which is supposedly, I guess it's like a metaphor for going to hell, like the river Styx or something almost. He makes the film negative, which is cool, because I've never seen that in a film that early, where I'm like, it's cool that the director made a choice there. He's like, could you imagine? Because it's like, people don't understand.
Let's fuck with them.
Right, people don't understand. Like, it's not something you can record, delete, record again. This is film you're messing with. You screw up the film that is given to you by the company, there's no going back. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So I love the risk-taking aspect. It works. Obviously, it's a filter we can use on our cameras like this now, but it costs them hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm sure. But the biggest scene, obviously, is him lifting up from the crypt, and it's all practical. It's like the support board going up. But that imagery is imitated by so many actors like Nicolas Cage, Defoe, where it's like, it's so, what's the word? It's so clean, but it's unnerving. Because I remember seeing that image when I was a kid. And I knew, the thing is, with kid, you can't really translate what's horror. You don't really know what horror is. Even when you're exposed to it, you have a feeling. That's what it is. It's a feeling. So when I saw that as a child, I was uncomfortable because I didn't know what it was. I knew I felt fear by looking into his eyes, which were abnormally large. I couldn't process why he was moving the way he was moving. All these things. And I don't know. It's a phenomenal shot. And then when he awakens...
Absolutely. Iconic. Like, it is the OG. Like, honestly, it shouldn't have been the Obey with... It should have been Obey with fucking Nosferatu.
Yeah, it really should have. It should have. Because that's the story. Again, like I said, like I should have started with it, but like with my boy Bela Lugosi here. It's like it started with Nosferatu because it's the same story. He's going after Lucy.
In Dracula, he doesn't blink. He doesn't blink, man. Throughout the whole fucking movie.
That's a good point.
It's so unnerving. Like, that adds to his spooky
That's a good point.
thing.
I never
He was
thought
always
of
like
that.
always hypnotizing.
Right. I
And
love
like
that
him.
shot. They don't do it in Nosferatu, but they do it in Bela Lugosi, where it's like just his eyes are lit,
Yes,
and you're like,
yes,
oh,
I
that's
love it.
cool. I love that.
Ish.
But same concept. He gets off the boat, Nosferatu. He's going to see Lucy. I believe there's a shot of him carrying his coffin, which I thought was cool. He's like literally in London with his bed, basically, like just going around.
Yeah.
And then
Not
another iconic
suspicious at
shot,
all.
which inspired Freddy Krueger, is when he's walking up the stairs. He has his hand arched behind him, and he's going up, and there's that shadow silhouette because all you see is shadows.
Yeah.
So when you see Freddy Krueger, it's like arched. And when I
Yeah.
met him, it was he said
So instead
It's-
of this, Freddy does this.
right,
I love it.
that instead of that. And he said the reason Freddy's shoulder is hunched like this is he was obsessed with like John Wayne movies, and he'd always walk with a swagger.
Oh,
So when you
swag,
look,
yeah.
his arm is arched behind his back, and his arms down. He's like, "Come to Freddy." Like he plans it all out. It's so
That's so
it's
cool. I
the
didn't
way.
know that.
Yeah.
I like that.
What else was there about it? I don't know. It's a phenomenal movie. That's what's cool. Like you said, it came out probably 1918.
Yeah, dude.
And the fact that it's been over 100 years, it's like phenomenal. So yeah,
good. It's a vibe.
right. All right. Question before we end for the day. I can't. I didn't realize. I forgot
Oh dear.
if you had the ability to go invisible, what would you do with that power? When I wrote that question, I didn't think about the context of what Invisible Man the storyline was. But let's just leave it with that.
Baby.
What would you do? In all seriousness, though. You go invisible, you find out you can turn invisible. What would you do? And you can do it whenever you want. And it's not going to glitch out on you or anything. You'll be invisible and you can go uninvisible at will.
See,
Tough,
I guess
right?
I just scare everybody. I don't know. Like,
Surprise! Then you disappear. They're like,
yeah,
"What the
like
fuck?"
it would never get old pranking everybody. So that'd probably be like my villain
You
power.
wouldn't do any
is just-
misdeeds? You wouldn't steal or anything?
You know, I don't know. Kind of depends.
Think about it. You should do
That's
it.
very
You're going to get away with
situational,
it. I mean, if it's existing on our Earth, I don't think anyone's going to believe the idea that there's a woman out there that can turn invisible, you know? There's no such thing as, like, superpowers. So
But
if you were
the thing
suddenly
is,
saying
feelings would still be difficult, wouldn't it? Because
you'd still feel guilt for doing what you're doing. I'm not
well,
saying you have
no,
the
like
same abilities
wouldn't people still be able to see the shit? Just not you.
Yeah, so if you grab
So
something,
there'd
it's
just
on
be this
camera.
floating stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you're
I
keeping
would
that in
obviously
mind.
get caught at some point when someone finds all the stolen merch, like at my house, and I'm like, nah, dog, not me.
That's a good point.
So
you know what I
stealing
do?
really wouldn't be.
I dress the only thing I do, I dress in a suit, and I'd go see the Oscars. Like I'd like blip in, turn myself uninvisible, sit down next to like Travolta, and be like, I got these seats or something. That's probably what I do. I'd sneak into events, go to the movies, just something basic. I don't need to go crazy. Like I am God. Like what's his name?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have enough like malicious intent to do anything unless it's fuck with people a little bit. I like to fuck around a little bit, but
Right. Not a
I don't
whole
have it
lot.
in me to be like, I'm gonna destroy you, unless you've really done something.
Well, that's the thing. Imagine that. What if somebody like, oh, they pissed you off, Mama? What are you?
Oh,
gonna
I'd
do?
definitely whoop the shit out of.
Oh,
some
that'd be
people while I was
awesome! Literally,
invisible.
somebody just like, oh.
That's without a doubt.
And all
Like,
you hear is your
those-
laugh, like in the background.
You're
You're
not
like, I
wrong.
think Mama's.
Shut the fuck up.
Ah.
Yeah.
The Woody
I'd be like, prove it.
Woodpecker-esque.
Where's your evidence?
All right, so
They felt.
we are going to go out for the evening. Next week will be our last episode where we are going to talk about everything fun, horror, all that fun stuff, and it'll be a jamboree. Before we leave, actually, no, you know what? I will raid you guys